Hi guys. I feel like playing with some makeup today. So I thought I'd get on here and talk to you while I did it. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do. Probably nothing really weird. I went to Hobby Lobby yesterday and I had a good time. I got some more Christmas stuff just to sit around, and I got a swag to put over the top of the hutch. And then I added some more greenery to it because they're just never quite full enough, you know what I mean? So I got that done. You can kind of see it right there. So I did that, and then I came home and decorated everything, and it is snowing today again. Snowed pretty good here on Saturday. And it's a little early. I mean, I guess not statistically early, but it's early compared to the way it's been the last few years. So I'm not really ready for this stuff. I was thinking, you know how when you have some time alone and stuff, how sometimes your memories come back to you. I was thinking about this one guy I dated. Tell you guys, it's so totally out of character for me, but it was a different time and place, and I was a different time and person, sorta. So I worked with this girl who married a guy who was much older than her. Not a problem. I always appreciated older men. But she was married to him, and he was in a motorcycle gang here in Indianapolis. And they had rented a house in a really nasty part of town, but it was what they could afford, I guess, this gang or whatever. And I was, you know, a shy little thing from the South Side, and I was always forbidden to go like on the East Side. The East Side was the rough side of town, and I was actually kind of scared of it. And that kind of carried through, you know, my whole life. I ended up living on the East Side, but I was going through a divorce, and at work I met this girl, you know, and we'll just call her Kathy. And she was married to this guy who belonged to this motorcycle club. And she seemed normal and like not rough, you know what I mean? And nice and a clean person. You know, hygiene about, I mean, you just get this, you know, this feeling about when somebody says, well, you know, I'm in a motorcycle gang, then you just immediately, they're completely covered with tattoos and they don't shower and they're dirty. And I know that's a stereotype, and I'm sorry, but it's my generation that I was brought up in, and that was the picture I got, and she was not any of these things. So, like I said, I was getting a divorce, and I was asked if I would be interested in going out with one of the guys from this motorcycle gang. And I said, I don't know if I'm into, you know, dating a guy that's in a motorcycle gang. And she said, you know, I really wish you'd quit calling it a gang because they don't like that. And they want to be called a club. And they do a lot of good. They raise money for Riley's Children's Hospital, and they do rides for to get money for funerals of people that don't have the money to bury their loved ones or whatever. And they do a lot of good. And we're all just like a family. So they really don't like to be referred to as a gang. So I was like, okay. And so it became the motorcycle club. And eventually I said, you know, I stood back and kind of watched her for a while, and I was getting bored. I wasn't dating, and, you know, I was just still coming off of that divorce. And So I said, yeah, go ahead and, go ahead and fix me up with this guy. We'll call him Jake. So I met Jake, and we met with my friend Kathy. We met like in a group at a restaurant one night. So it kind of took the pressure off, and to see if we liked each other. And then he asked me out again after that, and I was like, okay. And we went to some bonfire thing or something of his friends, and he was immediately like hanging all over me, and I don't like that. Give me some space, especially if I just met you. And so we hung out, and I didn't know anybody, and like I said, I'm shy, and I didn't think anybody had any, reason to listen to anything I had to say, and I just wanted to go. So we left, and he said, you acted weird there. And I said, I'm sorry, we talked it out. And I said, I don't know. I said, I'm just going through a hard time right now. You're gonna have to be patient with me or not. It's up to you. So we went on and dated for a while longer, and he was coming off of a divorce, and he had a 2-year-old little boy, and there was something wrong with this little boy. Something was wrong with this little boy, and he had to have multiple surgeries and stuff like that. And that's not the reason. The reason was just because he had a little boy that was 2 or almost 2. And I was like, my kids at this point are upper middle school age and going into high school. And I mean, to be honest with you, I was never really that motherly to begin with. I mean, I loved my kids. I took care of my kids. But when they were up and old enough to take care of themselves, that was a good thing. That was the goal. And I did not want to start over again with a 2-year-old. So that kind of clinched it for me. But I thought, well, we can go out, we can have some fun and everything. Well, then he got real, I don't want to say possessive, but real, like he kept getting his feelings hurt over everything. And I'm kind of sarcastic, not in a mean way. I mean it in a comedic way, I mean, my dad was that way, and I guess I got it from him, but I would say stuff, and he'd get his feelings. That meant nothing. I wasn't even trying to be mean. And he'd get his feelings hurt. And then, you know what he did? Give me the silent treatment. He wouldn't talk to me. And I'm like, are you for real? Are you for real? You're a grown man, and this is the way you're going to handle something like this. So one night we went to a restaurant, and I had said something a little off color to him, and he wouldn't talk. And I thought, well, you know what? I'm getting dinner out of this deal, because that night I had drove to his house. I thought, I'm getting dinner out of this, and I don't care if he speaks to me or not. And I want you to know he said not one word to me during dinner. He spoke to the waiter to order his food, and that was it. So I called him a baby. Told him I was going home, because we had planned more for that evening. And I was like, I'm not. I mean, I'm just not. I was in my late 30s at this point, I think. And so I said, I'm going home. You're a baby. And I'm just kind of done. And he didn't like that too much. And then he started calling me a lot. And I mean, I didn't end it, or, I mean, we weren't even exclusive or anything. But when he told me that his little boy was going to have surgery, and he said, now I want you to understand. Now, mind you, we'd been out like twice. And his little boy was going to have surgery coming up. And he said, now I want you to know, and I want you to understand something about, next week when so-and-so has his surgery, of course his mother's going to be there. So we're going to be at the hospital all day, together, because he's our son and everything. And he said, if you want to come and you can get off work, I was like, no, it's fine. So I don't know. I was kind of cold to the guy, but he just kept coming back and coming back. And so he told me that, he and his wife were going to be at the hospital together that day. And I said, that's fine. And he goes, really? And I said, well, yeah. Why would I care? And he's like, well, I just want to let you know, aren't you upset, or, think there's something going on? I said, he's your son, So, he went there, and then when we'd be at his house or something, watching a movie, and I'd get the feeling I was being watched, and I'd look over, and he'd be staring at me. I don't like that. I don't know about you guys, but I just never liked that. So the motorcycle gang thing, I found out pretty quickly that indeed they did raise money for good purposes. But they also were a gang. And they were into it with another gang in town. And I mean, this is not like play, grade school stuff. This is guns and knives and fights, and yeah, I'm out. When he told me that I needed to be careful when I left in the morning to go to work, and he told me why, I was like, yeah, I can't do this. I've got kids. I can't be worried about my safety. I got enough to worry about, And there were people that would drive by his house, and he'd get real upset because he knew who they were. I mean, of course, I didn't. And it was the nefarious people from the other motorcycle gang. And I thought, what am I doing, and how did I get here? So I broke up with him. Sometimes I just wish that I could just do the pink eyeshadow, but I always feel like I need something in my crease for definition. And I can't not do it, because if I just leave it like this, then later today I'm gonna be in the bathroom doing this. How many of you have decorated for Christmas? Also, let me know how many of you are hosting Thanksgiving. That is one holiday that I hear less and less about. When I watch YouTube videos in the past years and stuff, people would mention that they were having family over, or they were the ones that were hosting. I mean, they wouldn't necessarily film the day, but you'd hear about Thanksgiving a little bit. And nobody's even said what their plans are. I find that a little distressing, because I always loved Thanksgiving. But we're not hosting, just to make that clear. We're not doing anything, because Mama got old, and I just don't have the energy for it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put my mascara on, and that's nothing real exciting, but I am gonna put on this lip liner before I let you go. It's Cocoa, NYX Cocoa. And then I'm gonna put on an old school lipstick. One that's been around for years and years. It's Revlon Skyline Pink. I use it all the time. I might have told you before. and then rub it together like that, and then the lip liner comes down over the pink and makes it a little darker. And it kind of matches my lips by the time I get done, because I'm not one to do red. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.